Hey guys, today I am talking about vegetable garden hacks, and almost everything I have on the table can be used and found in your kitchen. So it's very common everyday items, but it'll make a huge difference in your vegetable garden throughout the year. So let's head out to the garden and I'll start demonstrating each hack and how it will benefit your garden in the long term. So I'm getting ready to pass my last frost, and I'm going to be planting a lot of tomato seedlings that I started over the winter. What I'm doing is with each of my tomato varieties, I'm putting in a plant tag, but it's an unusual plant tag. These are actually paint stir sticks that I actually get. Whenever I purchase some paint, I ask them for 5 or 10 of them at a time per gallon, and they're happy to give them to me because they're basically free. So I just write on there what I'm planting, and also these particular sticks, it's a little hard to see, but I'll bring it in a little closer. But it actually has a measuring stick on it, so you could actually use it for as a planting depth guide. So it's an interesting little thing that will last for a long time. And because they're so tall, they're not like the tiny plant tags that you get with your seedlings or whatever you've purchased. These will stand up quite a bit taller, and so as the plant grows, they'll stand out in the garden and you'll be able to see them quite a bit easier because they are so much taller than your tiny little plastic tags, and they'll last quite a while. The plastic tags can become brittle in the heat and break pretty easily, so these I like much better. They're a great way to keep track of what variety you planted in what area of the garden. So the second hack involves an old towel that would probably end up in the garbage or possibly as a car washing towel. But I use this to transport really heavy bags of things that are just too heavy to carry, maybe 2 or 3 bags at a time. But if you have a mobility issue, it could be as little as 1 bag. But I'll show you exactly how to use it. But for those people with mobility or lifting issues or maybe back problems, this will save your back quite a bit and probably keep you from making a visit to your local chiropractor. So basically, if there's a long distance, you need to carry a bag of soil or fertilizer or whatever it is, you just lay the towel down, put your bag on the towel, pick up one end of your towel, and just carefully drag it. And you don't have to necessarily use a bath towel. You could use something like a bed sheet, but it'll save your back if you have issues there, and you can just drag it across the garden to wherever you need it. Now, using plywood as a slug trap is fairly simple. If you've got a piece of leftover plywood, you can cut it into thinner strips and put it in between your rows of plants. Set it in the garden, leave it there overnight, prop it up on one side just a little bit, maybe a rock under each side, and slugs will come out at night. They'll try to attack your plants, but eventually you'll get them under control by checking it in the morning, taking a look underneath, and picking the slugs off and disposing of them away from your garden, or putting them in some salt. So if you grow a lot of vegetables in large containers like the ceramic pot, there's a way you can keep your vegetables and whatever you're planting on your garden, vegetable, patio, wherever it's at, you can add a car washing sponge to it, and that will help keep soil from being washed out of the bottom of the pot. And because of its size, and it is very large, it's not like a kitchen sponge, this will absorb moisture and it will slowly release it, and your roots will grow down to the sponge, and it will help keep it alive and keep your vegetables consistently growing. And it can also help with your tomatoes with any issues that might happen with inconsistent watering, such as blossom end rot. So a lot of people talk about using the inner cardboard roll of your paper towels or toilet paper to make a seedling growing pot that will degrade in the soil, but I don't have a lot of those. But what I do have tons of is Amazon delivery boxes. So I'll show you real quick how to take an Amazon delivery box and turn it into a seedling pot. Now, since these seedlings are going to be pretty small as I start them, they're going to be tomato seedlings, I don't need them quite this tall, so I'm going to cut it in half again. I'm going to cut one of these in half again, and then I'm going to fold it into a triangular pattern or square pattern, then tape it, set it in a plastic container like this, and I can put quite a few of them in a small container like this. This was a blueberry tray, but I'm going to tape it. I'll show you how to do that out of camera range there. And we're just going to take that, wrap it around there. And so we're going to fill that. We're going to set this in here first. Fill this with our Fill this with our seedling starting soil, and then allow it to grow. And then once we are ready to transplant it to the garden, we'll just carefully pick it up, move it out to the garden, and set it into the garden. Cut the piece of tape so the roots can expand out. It's not trapped in there. And this will slowly degrade over the summer, probably before summer begins if you do it early enough. But that's a great way to start your seedlings. If you don't have a lot of the paper towel center rolls, I like to use just the flaps of cardboard boxes, and I can still use the boxes for storage things as I don't need them sealed. So depending on what you're planting, there's always guides as to spacing in the garden. And one thing that you can use to quickly measure is the tools you already have on hand, whether shovel, hoe, rake. And what you'll do is you'll just take a tape measure. You'll measure off every foot. And then you want to do the half mark there at half a foot. And you just do that all the way up the rake, shovel, hoe, whatever you're using. So you'll know exactly how far you need to space everything. And then that way you'll have an easily measuring device, and you'll know exactly how far you need to space it without having to go hunt down a tape measure or a ruler that may not be handy as your garden tools that are already at hand. So I talked a moment ago about catching slugs with your piece of plywood. Also, you can create a barrier from your newly planted seedlings to keep the slugs from getting on them. So what you do is you'll just take a water bottle, round water bottle. I'm going to cut it. So you're just going to cut a top, and you're going to make a sleeve out of it. You're going to place it around your ceilings, pile up a little bit of soil around it, and this edge will keep the slugs from coming up and getting to your ceilings. Not impossible, but it makes it a little bit more difficult. And when it's time to take it off, you don't have to try to pull it off because your seedling may have grown out too large and you'll damage it. So you just take your scissors, cut down the edge of it, then remove it, take it away from your seedling, and you can have a total protection system from slugs and other small insects that might have tried to attack your newly planted seedlings. Now, in that same vein of reusing things that might end up in a landfill, we're going to take a solo cup. So if you attend a barbecue and they're throwing a lot of these away, it would be a great idea to take about 10 or 20 of them home, and you can recycle them. Now, first you're going to cut the top off, and you might be able to reuse this also as maybe a little barrier, but I don't think this will work quite as well because it's not high enough. So if you have solo cups, you can use the solo cups as the barrier. Just cut a 3 to 4 inch height there keep the slugs off of your newly planted seedlings. But anyways, we're just going to use this bottom portion of the cup. I'm going to cut out strips like this, every one about ½ an inch in width. And you'll just go all the way around the cup doing that, and then you'll take the base of it, cut them off like that, and you have some plant tags now. You'll just write on the back of them where you can see it a little bit easier on the white side. You can stick that into the soil, and these are easily reusable from year to year, and they'll last quite a long time, probably as long as a standard plastic plant tag. So it's just a great way to recycle something that would normally end up in the trash. Now, if you're like me, you like using as many organic products as possible, and diatomaceous earth is one of those things that's very, very safe. You don't want to, of course, you don't want to breathe it in, so you may want to wear a face mask, but using plastic containers to put it out into the garden will make it a heck of a lot easier. This would have normally ended up in the trash. I believe it held some type of orange or grapefruit or something like that, but I'm going to show you how to take this and turn it into a spreader for things like granular fertilizer or even diatomaceous earth. Now we've got our diatomaceous earth ready to go into our container. I'm going to drill holes in the top of this. I've taken a very small drill bit, and I'm going to drill only on one side so I can use it as a shaker, hold it to one side, and just shake it over whatever I need to apply it to. So we're going to do that real quick, and this becomes trash to a spreader of anything you need. Depending on your hole sizes, you could put in granular fertilizer, seeds, whatever you need, and just adjust your hole sizes and put them on one side so you can hold it and shake it out. So as you can see, our holes are only on one side, so we can take it and hold it like this and shake it out to one side. It's not all the way around. We'll insert our diatomaceous earth. We'll just carefully put that in there and hopefully not stir it up too much. And I'll take it out to the garden and just do a quick demo of it being applied around some plants that seems to be having a little bit of attack from insects early in the season. So I have some ants starting to move into my raised vegetable bed here, and I'm just going to carefully apply this diatomaceous earth around the ant bed, and it will react with the ants, but it's very easy to put out. And again, I would recommend wearing a mask if you're going to do this a lot. I'm not wearing one right now because the mic would be muffled, and I'm only doing this for demonstration purposes. So that makes a great item, is just kind of putting out whatever you need, whether it's a powder, granule, or even something larger like a particular type of seed. Now, one thing that's really frustrating to find in your raised garden, vegetable bed, or even if you don't have a raised vegetable bed, is you see something burrowing and digging in. Some small animal has gotten into the garden. One of the best things I've found to stop things like moles, ground squirrels, even regular sized squirrels, is just to take some cayenne pepper and gently put it around your plants. It won't hurt the plants. And those animals will not like this as they're burrowing in and around the soil. It will be a very sour taste to them, a very hot, spicy taste, and they will more than likely leave your vegetable garden. So cayenne pepper, you can purchase it at the big box store such as Sam's, Costco, or maybe even a restaurant supply where you can get a large container of it and you don't have to buy it in small containers. Now, empty gallon-sized water containers are excellent for an automatic watering device, and they're really easy to put together. This is just I think it was a gallon-sized water container exactly. So we're going to drill a hole there, only one. Then we're going to take the cap and we're going to take a paper towel and we're going to fold it several times until it's fairly thick, and then tear it so it will fit exactly in the cap. Force that down into the cap, and this will slow down the water flow where it is just a little trickle. So this was great next to your seedlings. Put the cap back on. You can either do one of two things. Either you can fill the bottle with water and put it next to your plant and do this over and over. Just flip it upside down and have your seedling close to it so the seedling's roots will stay a little bit moist from the moisture coming out. You could also cut a hole in the bottom where you don't have to remove it. You just leave it in place and refill it with your hose. You can also take something like a piece of PVC, tape it to the side of the bottle, and then that way you can have it nearly sitting completely flat on the soil with your piece of PVC, a stick, whatever you have, that you could have it like this, and so it wouldn't fall over. Of course, it would be more like this much in the soil, and then that would stop the jug from falling over. It would slowly release water to your seedling, and then that way you have an automatic watering device that's not requiring you to monitor your seedlings each and every day. So this is just a 2-liter Coke bottle I've turned into a self-watering device. I've made a video about this one, and I'll put a link up above exactly how to put it together, but it uses a wicking action. This has literally been in the greenhouse for months, and it's still very green and happy. I've not watered it at all. It's just a self-watering container made with a used empty Coke bottle. Now, a lot of people, after they've planted their seeds, they take their seeds packets and just throw them away. And I would recommend not doing that. On the back of these with a pen, you can just write in your date you planted them, the depth, and any other vital information about that, what type of fertilizer, etc., etc. And then at the end of the season, you take the same seed packet, maybe you even put a notation as to where you planted it in the garden, and then make a notation as to whether or not it was really successful or it was a complete failure and you don't want to use them anymore. That way, you don't continue to buy seeds, varieties that don't do well in your area, or maybe the provider of the seeds did do a good job, and then maybe they were just not great seeds to begin with. Now, the next tip is about starting your seedlings. You want to take about roughly half a teaspoon of Epsom salt, put it in some warm water, I'd say about 1 gallon, mix it carefully, then put your seeds in there and let them soak for 3 to 4 hours so they can become hydrated, and some of the magnesium from the Epsom salt and some of the other things in there will soften up the seed to make sure you have a little bit more success on your seed starting. Now, on larger seeds, there's something called scarification, and what that is, it involves nicking the outer area of the seed so it can become hydrated and start the germination process just a little bit quicker. So you'll just take your nail clippers, cut on the edge of the seed to allow a little bit of water to access the interior portion, or you can use something like a nail file or even a razor blade, and then you can drop it into your solution of Epsom salt and warm water. Now, cleaning rusty garden tools is really made easy with vinegar. You take either a 3-gallon bucket, 5-gallon bucket, and put 1 to 2 cups of white vinegar in there. Put your tool in there and let it sit overnight, and then clean it the next day. It's really one of those things that will keep your tools lasting a little bit longer than they would normally would if you don't take care of them. So garden tools are becoming more expensive, and keeping them clean and rust-free is a great idea. Now, if you're having a problem with ants around specific types of vegetables, you can take some ground cinnamon powder and just sprinkle that around the plants, and that will also help. We talked earlier about cayenne pepper and keeping mammals and things like that away from them, but this work right here, ground cinnamon, works great on keeping ants away from your vegetables. So I would highly recommend you getting a very large container of this from either Sam's, the big box store, Costco, and I'll put a link down below to the largest container I can find, if I can find a large one on Amazon. Now, whether you've collected your own seeds from your garden or you have leftover seeds from various packets you've used and you want to see if you can preserve them until next season, take a gallon-sized freezer bag and take some of these silica packets, preferably 2 per gallon-sized freezer bag, and then put your seeds in there if they're open like these are, and put them in a cool, dry place in your pantry, and they should last until next year. Now, if you don't want to purchase the silica gel packs, which I'll put a link down below, if you want to use something a little bit more simplistic, is you can use a paper towel, fold it in 4, and then that way put it in the bag, and that way it should solve the problem with any humidity or issues that might arise with your seeds becoming spoiled because of high humidity in your pantry or in your home. Now, weeds are one of those ever-present things in your garden. You're never going to get rid of them. They're going to come back no matter what you do. But if you want to make a fertilizer out of them, take them, fill them up in a 5-gallon bucket or a 2-gallon bucket like this one, fill it to the rim with water and allow it to sit for about 2 weeks. Then you want to use it as a fertilizer directly onto your vegetables. Take your watering can, take the water from it, leave the weeds, just try to carefully drain it off because you can refill it and use it again. But a weed fertilizer is one of those things that will make a huge difference in your garden. Now, the last and the most important tip I can give you is keeping a journal about your garden, about what works, what doesn't, what was a complete disaster, and what was a complete success. Doing this detailed type of journaling is going to really help your success in gardening because you'll know what to avoid next season by just doing a quick review of some short notes that you made from the current season. So journaling is the last and probably the most important tip I can give you. So guys, I hope you'll try to implement some of these hacks into your vegetable garden because I think it will make a huge difference by just improving it just a little bit each year. And that's really a trick. Small improvements over a long period of time make a massive difference. So if I left anything out or you have an idea that you'd like to do in your vegetable gardens, leave it down below in the comments and have a great day.